In 2022, the Chinese authorities have not only encountered domestic problems like a slowing economy and people's livelihoods, but also faced frequent setbacks in the international community, especially in the past month. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, is dealing with more and more protests from its people, as well as resistances from various countries. It means that the communist-backed country is becoming a loner. This is reflected in 7 factors. Japan's attitude towards Beijing turns tough after Shinzo Abe's assassination. Number 1. After the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the celebration by Chinese young nationalists called Little Pinks angered the Chinese political circle. And Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio quickly agreed to the visit of Taiwanese Vice President Lai Ching-te to Japan to offer condolences to Abe. His visit was received as Japan's state guest with the highest standards, which is a major breakthrough in Japan-Taiwan relations and embarrassing Beijing. Despite the objection from the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Japan still ignored it. Some Taiwanese scholars said that Abe's death can be seen as a turning point in Japan's policy towards China. Japan has previously taken a soft approach to China's military provocations in its sea and airspace areas, but at this point it is China's military that should be careful. Number 2. Australia ignores 4 requests from China to restart bilateral relations. On July 8th, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi during the G20 Foreign Ministers Summit. The Chinese authorities presented a list of 4 actions that Australia must take to restore relations between the two countries. They include treating China as a partner rather than an opponent, adhering to the way of seeking common ground while reserving differences, not targeting nor being subjected to a third party, building a positive and pragmatic social and public opinion foundation. On July 11th, Australian Prime Minister Albanese told the press that Australia will not respond to China's requests. It will not change its position on any issue and only follow Australia's interests. In addition, the country will continue to be constructive and will work with China when necessary. Number 3. Sri Lanka's economy collapses and China's Belt and Road is affected. On May 19th, the Sri Lankan government announced that it had failed to repay a total of $78 million in debt, marking its first sovereign debt default since independence. Sri Lanka is an important country in China's One Belt, One Road initiative. Due to the initiative, China became Sri Lanka's largest creditor country, but it is not active in debt relief. Sri Lanka was forced to lease its strategic seaport and surrounding land to Beijing for a long time. In July, a major crisis broke out in Sri Lanka. The country went bankrupt, food prices were soaring, people were in short supply, and the fuel crisis was severe. President Rajapaksa fled abroad and resigned by mail. Angry people stormed the Prime Minister's office and held massive protests in the streets. Sri Lanka's economic collapse and national crisis have obviously impacted China's ambitions. It allows the world to see the consequences of China's Belt and Road, but Sri Lanka may be just the beginning. More countries involved in the Belt and Road are expected to explode. Number 4. U.S. strengthens its ties in South Pacific to counter China's influence. On July 13th, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris met with the leaders of the Pacific Island Forum in a teleconference. She announced a new U.S. commitment to open embassies in the South Pacific Island countries of Kiribati and Tonga. She said the administration is ready to request Congress to allocate $60 million annually over the next 10 years to support the development of the ocean economy. In response, the Solomon Islands Prime Minister said that the country would not allow China to build military bases. U.S. President Joe Biden has recently also embarked on a tour of the Middle East with the intention to enhance the alliance between the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. Previously, China has made a big infiltration into these countries. Number 5. NATO incorporates CCP's challenge for the first time. The NATO summit held in Madrid at the end of June was extraordinary. The organization's leaders have launched a new strategy which for the first time portrayed the CCP as constituting a systematic challenge. In this regard, NATO raised a common awareness to prevent China's coercive tactics and efforts to split the alliance. The leaders of Japan, Australia, South Korea, and New Zealand were invited to the NATO summit. This shows that Europe and Asia are joining forces to meet the challenge of the CCP. Number 6. New Pakistani Prime Minister wants close relations with the U.S. Shehbaz Sharif, the new Prime Minister of Pakistan, sent a congratulatory letter to Biden on July 4th, the U.S. Independence Day. In the letter, he said that he is looking forward to setting up close relations with the United States at all levels, including politics, economy, military, culture, trade, and investment. He also said that the former Prime Minister Imran Khan received serious bribes and is being investigated for legal responsibility. Under his administration, Imran Khan was seeking to boost ties with China. Number 7. PEW polls show that international negative views of China are still at an all-time high. According to the Voice of America, a new PEW Research Center poll released on June 29th shows that 68% of people surveyed in 19 countries in North America, Europe, and the Asia-Pacific region have no favorable opinion of China. 79% of the countries surveyed believe China's human rights policies were a serious problem. A recent poll released by the Lowy Institute, an Australian think tank, shows that Australians' trust in China has plummeted to just 12% from 52% in 2018, with only 1 in 10 Australians having a positive view of China. These 7 factors not only show the plight of China in the international community, but also reveal that the world is viewing the communist regime as the greatest threat.